Buzz's retirement garage. I've lost track of the date. I think I retired 2 years ago today. Well, I was walking dogs this morning and I did a short with Nigel the Bone Dog. And I said, on this day, 2 years ago, it was my last day. On September 29th, it was my last day. And technically, September 29th was supposed to be my last day. That's what my plan was. On September 29th, 2023, that was going to be my last day because we had lost the contract, not lost it. The automotive company that we were dealing with had moved the work to Mexico, and we were going to lose about 35 to 40% of our business. And which meant massive layoffs, which meant something extra for me to do. I didn't want to take on more responsibility or take a pay cut like we did during 2008, 2009 when things got really tight. So I thought, I'm close enough. Let me run the numbers. Let me see. Social Security is going to be X. I got so much, I don't have enough savings, but you know what? Here's what I'll do. I'll just get a part-time job. And I think it'll be fine. I can be on the ACA for about a year because I'll turn 65 in January. So the following year, so I said, in 2025. So I said, maybe I can pull this off. So the more I got thinking about it, as the time, September 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, as time went on, and I got to the 29th, that's when I'm going to leave. Well, that third week of September, I said, no, I think I'm going to take off this week. I got vacation and everything. I said, you know what? I can't do this another day. Once you get it in your head that you're going to retire, you're counting down the minutes. And the last time I counted down minutes was I was in a math class in high school. And I remember, and the poor lady, she was a French teacher. She was, I think, my personal opinion, she was out of her element at teaching math. She was so boring. And I love teachers, trust me. We had a lot of good ones where I went to high school. But she was just, her class was so boring. And I just remember watching, we had a clock with a second hand. And I just watched the second hand. Please, another minute, another minute. Oh, this is taking so long. Well, that's how retirement felt. That's how the days before I actually retired felt. It felt like I was sitting in Mrs. P's class watching the second hand go around and please, it's got to go faster, and it doesn't. So I actually retired. I couldn't even wait that Friday before that, so that would have been the 22nd, right? I couldn't even wait till the 22nd. I turned in a vacation slip. My bosses had left. They leave at 3:30, and I'm sitting there. It's like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I'm like, I can't do a Friday. I just can't do it. They knew I was going to have, they were probably going to set something up for me. I couldn't deal with that. I've talked about this before. Emotionally, I couldn't deal. 19 years at this company, almost 20 years, and I couldn't deal with and we had a nice tight-knit group too, and I couldn't deal with the emotional part of the goodbyes and just the whole atmosphere, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it, but that Thursday, I turned in a vacation slip, had the controller sign it, and he says, I'm not your boss. I said, right now you are. And he signed my vacation slip. And the bad part was, my bosses, the owners actually, who took very good care of me, I had to text them and say, hey, look, I can't do Friday. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. So Jim has signed off my vacation slip, and thank you very much for the years, and I did all that, and plus send out emails and different things. But and then I've revisited there a few times since. But let me tell you, getting out of there on that Thursday night, and now 2 years later, and I never went to college. I never went to a 4-year college, so I can only equate it to like high school. That first year in high school, as a freshman, right? You're learning new things, you're learning new people, and that's how retirement felt. It felt like my freshman year in high school. I didn't know what to expect. 40 years of working, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And it was tough. That first few months was for me. Some people say they don't need a transition period, and I do. I did. I did. I needed a huge transition period because, like I say over and over again, my mind is still going 100 miles an hour. You're clicking every day. You're getting up. You're driving to work. You're handling things. You're doing this. You're doing that. You're coming home. You're eating. You have a schedule, and when you wake up and yeah, first it's like vacation. But then it hits you like, okay, this is like the third week, the fourth week. I'm still not doing anything. I'm not going anywhere. I still don't have to go back to work, and it's been a month. And it finally starts to hit you like, hey, hey, I like this. I'm not going anywhere. I'm sleeping in, going to bed when I want, waking up when I want, doing what I want, at my own pace. And let me tell you, it felt like my freshman year. I didn't know how to act or react to everything that I was feeling. And, after a month and 2 months, the stress level was going down. But the mind was still going 100 miles an hour. It took me, I think, 4 months, 4 to 5 months where I actually said, okay, the body or the mind has slowed down to my body, which wasn't doing much. And I finally got into a little bit of a groove. So that last summer, I was able to, built a barn and, started working on projects and catching up on all the different things at a slower pace. I didn't have to finish it in a weekend. I was able to take my time and really do it right instead of, just throwing things together and I'll band-aid this today and I'll fix it someday. Well, that someday is here. That someday is here. Now this year, I'm my sophomore year, right? Now, second year in, and I understand what retirement is about, and I think more of how to use my time more wisely. Last year I rested. I took care of myself, my body and my mind. I rested. I needed that after 40 years, and I didn't care if I didn't do anything all day. I needed that time. I know my body. I know my mind, and both of them, both my body and mind said, hey, cool the jets for a while, okay? Take it easy. You don't have to do anything crazy. And I listened, and I relaxed. Now this year, kind of the same, but, I'm looking at trying to get more projects done. I'm trying to be a little bit more active as far as making a difference around the house and getting some stuff done. I started the volunteering, as I said, at the dog shelter. And that's just, a great time. I post shorts, if you haven't seen them, of the dogs, so I can keep a record for myself of what dogs I've taken out. And most of them that I've posted have been adopted and have other people taking care of them now. And it just, when I see these dogs, it's like, oh, look at that. That one got adopted. And remember, oh yeah, I remember that dog from, 3 months ago. And it's a great feeling. And now that I started this YouTube channel. Actually, my channel's been out there for a long time. Never did anything with it, but some household things, concerts with the kids and stuff like that. But in December of 2023, so about 2 months after I retired, I started a YouTube channel. And let me tell you, one of the best benefits for me and we'll end this. We'll end this so we don't go too long because I like to, the best benefit for me has been the community that we've grown. We've grown together. And I can't just tell you enough how I appreciate every single one of you out there, because you have given me something that I never, ever thought I would have in my life, or especially in retirement. It's just that camaraderie. Most of us are retired now. I get emails and texts and there's feedback on our lives that we do on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And it's such a good group of people out there. And I'm so glad that I got to, at least, I met some of you, but I've talked to some of you. I've emailed and texted with some of you. And that's been a great benefit. Mrs. Buzz too, she really appreciates it, and that's been one of the greatest highlights of my retirement so far, and getting stuff done around here. So 2 years in, ready for my freshman, sophomore. Next year will be my junior year. I wonder how that's going to be like. So when you got into your third year, was there any differences? Anything that you noticed that was, a little different? Are you on the same plane and wavelength as I am here? Let me know your thoughts. Buzz's Retirement Garage. Take it easy.